Hi everyone, my name is Frederick. Today I want to introduce you to Makeover Monday. Makeover Monday is a free database community activity that's really amazing, really awesome to learn and practice your business intelligence and data analysis skills. So it's run by two volunteers of the UK, Andy and then Eva. So every week there's a free data set that is made available online, and you can do it every week or every couple of weeks to get some practice and practice the tool itself, for example Tableau, but also practice finding insight or practice communicating the insight, which I think is equally important. um, if you have any questions, you can always tag me on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and I'm more than happy to answer your questions. So the very first step for Makeover Monday, yeah, you go on the website makeovermonday.co.uk. So the very first front page of the website is you can have a bit of a look, but the description about Makeover Monday, there's an interesting video as well from Eva to explain what it is about. To get access to the data, you go to participate dataset, as simple as that. And there's a couple of ways you can participate. One is to use this week's exact data set. So for this week, week 11, 14th of March, the link is there, or the data, and the topic is about the biggest cash crop. So you could choose to do like everyone else. Every week you pick that week's topic. But if you wanted to go back in time and practice on a different type of data set or different type of topic, you could pick an existing data set from this year or from the previous years and then run with that. It's really up to you. The way it's structured, you got the week from week 1 to 52 every week. The date, that's a link to the data set. This review, so every week the group organizes this review where Eva and Andy basically give feedback to the participant, and also Andy would record himself doing the viz, which is that link there. So for today's purpose, I'm going to click on this link, which is that week 11. When you click on the link there, it's going to link to a data.world website. You might need to create a username for yourself. So create an account. It's free. It takes 5 seconds. It's really, really simple. So a couple of steps I would always do before I jump into Tableau or any kind of tools is really understanding the data and what they're asking for. So what is data about? So this week's data is about crops per region. There's always a link to an original database, like this one. This one is an infographic. There's even a link to the source article and a link to the data source. And keep in mind that the objective of these four social goods are always to improve the original chart above and what would you to do it better. So if you click on the original article, I would advise to spend a bit of time really trying to understand how they've done it and the type of measures they use or units. So in that situation, we've got the most planted or harvest, the yields per square meter in tons, and so on. And we can see those are the units, and they use a bar chart, and so on. So that's, yeah, spend some time really analyzing the existing data set, and if you can find some ways you could maybe improve it. The next step is to scroll down the page, and you can see the two data sets are provided. Two CSV files, one for harvest crop summary, and then this one is probably the same but not summarized. So I will click on the file and download that to my computer. Download the two files, and you can see you can also bookmark if you want to go back. So it's created a zip file, so up to you to decide, but I always unzip them. And so if I go back to my desktop, I've created a folder here where I saved the two CSV files there. And this one is a Tableau file I've already started working on. So the next step when you unzip the file and save to your computer is really spend some time analyzing the data. I always like to have do a table filter, so you can get a quick glance of the data. So you can see there's world and the different continents here. So you can do a very, very basic exploration. Items, so there's quite a few items there, wheat, potatoes, quinoa, and so on. The years, obviously, we got trend data. The unit, important to understand what the units are about, hectares, tons, and stuff like this, and the values and the numbers. So yeah, I spent some time on the really understanding the way the data is structured. The data is ready to go with Tableau, so you don't need to prepare it, but spend some time understanding the units and the values, and then what you can use to put Tableau basically. So when you're happy with that, what you can do is you can jump into Tableau. So what I've done, I've already imported, but very simple step. When you got a brand new Tableau file, you just go text file. So those are the two files. I can just click on one. So that's my almost spreadsheet view. You can see before. The thing I would do differently is probably Tableau didn't recognize there was a date, so you can just change date and time. But that's my data, and then the next step is to click on. So obviously the summary has been imported there in the pane, and you can start analyzing the data. So I did one before just to gain a bit of time for the demo purpose, which was that file. So same thing. What I did is I've imported the harvest crop. That's here. So I've got my values, the years here as well. So it's really up to you to decide how you want to visualize and then tell the story. What I did for this one, for example, is I've imported items to filter, just drag and drop, and I've only focused. If I go edit filter, I just wanted to focus on the sugar, which are here. So those are ticked, and so the data is only for sugar. The other thing I also wanted to focus was on the element. So I've just dragged the element to filter, and as you can see here, it's production, but you could say areas invested. For example, it really depends on your angle for the story. So all the filters there are quite important. And for the areas, I've got the continent, but I've removed world. But you could do the opposite if you wanted. It's really up to you. And you can see that the continents are showing up there. So the next step is basically to drag area to column, item to row. I've put my dates here, and I've put the value here to rows. So it created that type of small multiple chart with the trends. Something you might need to check is Tableau might just import the data as discrete. You might want to have that as a continuous date, which is the green pill, which shows up as continuous. So it shows you the trend from the 60s to now, basically. What you could potentially do also is play with labels and include labels. Sometimes the labels are a bit too busy, so you might want to have just a minimum and maximum, for example, or line end, so beginning and the end. You might see a bit of a story happening there, where you can see in Americas the sugarcane area harvested are growing significantly from 61 to 2019. So it might just tell you that Americans are producing more and more sugar, and then there might be an issue with their diets and things like this. If I go production, same thing. See that you can see a huge spike for the sugarcane. So you might decide, okay, maybe sugar beet is not important, and you might just remove that and only focus on this one potentially. So it could be one storyline to tell. I don't know if you want to add color as well, just a bit of color, so I can see that you got Africa. All the countries the continents are here. You got the items on the side and the years down below, and then a trend. So play with those play with those different type of charts. It's really up to decide. Maybe a tip as well is you can also play with annotations as well. So when you click on one point and right click, you go Annotate Mark. So Tableau recognizes those fields are maybe important, but you could also write some more explanations there. There was a spike of consumption because of blah blah blah. So that could be reinforcing your story. See in there, and there's a little line that explains what happened in there. You can even right click and go format and format the colors and so on. You can also remove those and just have words if you want it. I'm not saying you have to do it, but sometimes using annotation it could be quite useful. So that's one chart. I've renamed it Sugar. This one is a different type of chart using the same data set. For this time I've used that type of highlight table there, which is quite similar to Excel. The darker colors are based on the biggest values. I've got all my items, so it's quite busy, but it also tells you at a glance what's going on in data. So you can see maize is quite big in Americas. And then rice, sugarcane again, as we saw before, rice in Asia, and so on. So this one could be also an interesting angle you could maybe focus on. And this one is all items. And same thing, you could always filter and have sugar, for example. So that's obviously a less table, or have more, just compare sugar with other things, or sugar with rice and so on. So it really depends on your angle, really. So I'm just going all. So the next step, I've got two charts, very simple chart, and yeah, spend some time. The next step is to create a dashboard. So I'm going to create a dashboard and just importing the two charts in my dashboard. Play with the formatting. Oh, this one didn't work. You can play with the size here, either something bigger, taller, and so on. It's really up to you to decide. Do a bit of housekeeping. So I've got two charts. If I don't like the title here, I can just right click and hide title. It's a bit of a trick. Hide title. What you could do is you could import a text box. This one will be for the title. So up to you to decide the title you want, something meaningful. You can change the font, make that smaller. So you can play with those. You can see when I'm selecting one, there's a little dotted line, so you can have them bigger, smaller, and so on. So let's pretend I'm happy with my dashboard. Obviously, you can give it a meaningful name there. Sugar production, for example. The next step is to save it. So as I said before, you can save it to Tableau public profile. So Tableau gives you access to Tableau public. So if you Google Tableau public, so that's I'm not logged in. So the first thing you need to do is you need to sign up. When you sign up, Tableau asks you for your name, email, and things like this. So I've got my Tableau public profile created. I've been using it for a few years, and that's really a nice way to showcase my public work. Keep in mind, it's only for public data set, not for your work, because anyone can see it. And you can have your photo, your name, some details, some blogs. So when I've got my Tableau public profile created, and that gives me my unique URL at the top, what I want to do is basically publish my dashboard to Tableau public. One extra step is when you import data to Tableau, there will be a live connection. So you need to change to an extract connection. So basically the extract would include the data, which makes it possible to save to public. So when I click on that, and go back to the dashboard. Tableau will ask me where you want to set the extract, which is a .ip file. I've just saved the same spot at my Makeover Monday file. Click on save. I had one created before. So now it's saved. Then I go server, Tableau public, save to Tableau public as, and just give it a name. Sugar. The name is real to you to decide. Production, and Tableau is basically going to save the file to my Tableau public profile. It will take a few seconds. Very, very simple dashboard. Obviously, you can do more, but as you do that, Tableau would publish the file to public, Tableau public. Exactly the same file. This one is interactive. It gave a unique URL at the top. If I go back to my profile here, the file has been published here, Sugar Production, and that's my work, basically. So the next step is, I've just published a file, so the next step is for the review process. So one way you can participate in the review process is, like anyone else using Makeover Monday to learn, is to publish your work to Twitter. Twitter is very active on, or Makeover Monday, I should say, is very active on Twitter. So Eva and then Andy are the two volunteers running Makeover Monday. So one way to get some feedback about your work is to tweet. As you can see, Eva there just tweeted the one she did for this week about the sugar. So there's the way the Twitter for Makeover Monday works is you got a bit of explanation, a hashtag, the link. She's included the link to a blog, but you could include the link to your dashboard, which is this one here. And as you can see, a screenshot. And a screenshot is as simple as doing a snip. So using the snipping tool or any kind of screenshotting tool, you basically take a screenshot of your dashboard, save as, and create an image. Like it's basically capturing your screenshot. You could copy that and put that into Twitter. So that's what Eva did. She included an image, which is a screenshot, and a link to a blog. Because the Tableau link is quite long, as you can see, sometimes it's using a lot of characters. So what I usually do, I use Bitly, which is or Bitly, I'm not sure, a short URL software. It's a free as well, so you can log in and create your own account. And we basically turn a very long URL into something much smaller, like this one. There's less characters, and that's my new URL I could use. So there's much less characters than the previous one, and you can copy that. So if I was pretending to tweet what I've done, I just click on tweet. That's my URL. The file was this one, the capture. So that's my screenshot. And you put some description, sugar consumption, blah, blah, blah. You could even have the hashtag Makeover Monday. You could tag myself if you wanted, so get some feedback, or tag Eva if you wanted, but that's it. That's almost like you tweet for Makeover Monday. The other step as well, if we go back to the main Makeover Monday website, there's a submission form where you can submit your work every week. So you obviously choose, it's quite simple. You choose the year, you put your name, the week submitted, and things like this, and then you end up in the submission tracker, which is a Tableau dashboard that they manage that every week. When you participate, it just shows up on the dashboards, which I think is pretty cool. And you can also do the same using LinkedIn or any other social media, just to basically get some feedback and show off what you're doing. The other way to publish and not to publish, to promote your work, if you're not too sure about Twitter, and if your class has a internal Microsoft Teams or Blackboard messaging board, maybe you use Teams. is you could do the same. Instead of putting on Twitter, you just put the screenshot, and then your lecturer might have created a team site for Makeover Monday or for the class, and just put the Tableau link and a screenshot. So you're not doing it on Twitter where everyone can see it, but it keeps within the university unit. But at least you can enjoy the fact that people can showcase their work and also ask for feedback, because I think the feedback loop is quite critical. If you read about Makeover Monday, if you're interested, if you get in the groove of the Makeover Monday, you can sign up for the weekly feedback. So Eva and then Andy would give you feedback. Even the community would give you feedback. And then the idea is based on feedback you receive, you can improve your original vid. So you might go back to your Tableau work, and based on what they told you, you say, oh yeah, that color doesn't work or that chart doesn't work, and you can redo it and republish. And that's really the way the system works, and the way you'll be learning and improving your business intelligence skills and your Tableau skills. So I hope you found that video useful. Yeah, get in and get some practice. I think it's free. It takes 1 or 2 hours per week, but I think it's really useful and valuable. Good luck. Thank you.